revealed. Yes, indeed. There he is. Johnny joining us from a different location tonight. But he is here.
Dave?
Hi. Hi, Johnny. Canada.
Hey, how are you doing tonight?
Good. Still Canadian, just like you. I could tell by your T-shirt and also last name North, gimmick last name North, by the way. Not even the real last name, giving that away right off the top. And, I know you were born here, so.
And you're wearing a Yankees jersey or shirt, not Canadian whatsoever, but that's okay. I guess we could forgive you one day, possibly.
It's not just any Yankees.
Oh, wow, Soto, yeah. Good for you. Did he do well today?
He's always doing well. Juan Soto is killing it in spring training. I can't wait to see his first season in New York. As you can tell, I'm ready. Juan
Good
Soto.
luck.
Yeah, we're very excited.
I don't mean it, but good luck.
I know you don't mean it. That's okay. We have a lot to talk about pro wrestling-wise, a ton. Just a giant amount of wrestling happening. We did not do a post-show for Revolution last week because it was on a Sunday night and it ended very late, so it was just not happening. So we're going to make it up for you with a supersized edition of Wrestling Uncensored tonight, and we'll give you the AEW Revolution recap, which we will get to here when we get to AEW. Want to give a shout-out to all the members in the chat already. So many members supporting us over at join.ringsidereport.net. Join.ringsidereport.net is where you want to be. $5 a month. Definitely is helping from all the members supporting the channel, keeping us afloat, paying for the pay-per-views and all the things. We got a big UFC pay-per-view watch-along tomorrow night, incidentally. Speaking of pay-per-views, tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, once again, UFC 299. We're all very excited on the MMA side about UFC 299. We're also very sad about what happened to Francis Ngannou this afternoon, or this evening, in the boxing ring. Francis Ngannou getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua in the second round. He got dropped in the first round, and then was hurt, clearly, and then in the second round got dropped again, and then he got up, and then immediately was knocked unconscious. Which, I don't want to go on about it. This is a wrestling show, but I feel like MMA is a safer sport because when you get dropped the first time, the guy goes on top of you, hits you a couple times maybe, and then the referee steps in and it's over. But here you get dropped, you get concussed, you get the ability to stand back up, get concussed again, get the ability to stand back up, and then you get flatlined. I feel like the brain takes way more damage in boxing than it does in MMA. A lot of people feel otherwise, but what happened to Francis tonight was scary. He was unconscious for a long time. I don't know if he's ever the same after something like that. Anthony Joshua put a vicious beating on him.
Well, I don't know if you could answer this or not, but to me, it always feels like the officials are kind of dragging it a little bit. I think maybe he felt, he's okay, it's all right. It's just, he got a little woozy, and we'll give him a bit of time. He'll get back into it. But they also maybe thought, maybe he shouldn't continue this, but it's only second round, so we got to keep this going for a little bit. If it was later rounds, maybe the refs would have called it off right away.
After the second knockdown. But, you get 10 seconds to recover, and if you can get back to your feet and the referee thinks you're all right to go, you go. But to me,
I don't know about that.
When you get dropped in the second round, and then you get back up, and the referee's like, yeah, he's cool, and then immediately you take one punch that you can't defend, and you're unconscious, and it's horrific.
I question that one.
Yeah, I didn't like it. But that's boxing. It's brutal at a different level than MMA. And people, again, don't see it that way. But if you really follow both sports, nasty stuff happens in boxing. It's scary. More brutal injuries as well. As far as brain injuries and, death, it happens more in boxing than it does in MMA. Shout out to all the members. I was getting to the members. Doug Hepburn, Angelo Contagonis, Jimmy James, Ryan Katz. My goodness. The chat is full of members tonight, so shout out to all you guys and everybody else watching. I think my buddies Matt and Richie might be watching, so shout out to you guys if you are watching. Matt told me he'd be watching, so maybe he and Richie are watching right now at work. I like it.
Nice.
We got wrestling to talk about here. Johnny North, The Rock, the Brahma Bull, the great one, the most electrifying man in all of entertainment, was on SmackDown tonight. And you can tell I'm excited about it because I love The Rock. Who doesn't love The Rock? He says, and I don't know if this is true, but I believe him because I believe The Rock. He is the most followed American man in the world on social media.
American? Yeah, it makes sense.
The most followed American man. That's unbelievable. The Rock, a pro wrestler, Johnny, a pro wrestler, has made it to the top of the world.
Yeah, but he's more than just that, though.
I know,
he's
but
one of the biggest celebrities.
Yeah, but what do you know him as? Where did he come from? You know, the fact that a guy can come from professional wrestling and make it to where Dwayne has made it, paving the way for Dave Bautista, paving the way for John Cena, paving the way for perhaps even Roman Reigns. It's great.
You can also
it's fantastic.
Look what someone from the CFL did. You can think about it like that. All the way from the CFL to now. How about that?
I don't think he played much in the CFL. Lex Luger had a much more fruitful CFL career. Lex Luger played for the Montreal Alouettes.
And they went to the finals, yeah. Different. I think Dwayne only played a couple of games, but still had a bit of a career. He can always put that on his resume. I think he does, too.
Yeah, he definitely talks about playing for the Calgary Stampeders. I've heard The Rock talk about playing in Calgary. Didn't he go see the Hearts while he was there and maybe train a bit?
I didn't read his book, but I imagine it's probably in his book.
I think maybe some of the Hearts may have reached out to him. I mean, when you hear Rocky Johnson's son is playing for the Stampeders, you may kind of say, "Hey, what's up, brother? You know, come to the dungeon. Stu wants to talk to you."
Well, remember, Brett's still in the WWF at the time, so it's possible there could have been something done.
Yep. And Rock always said that Brett treated him very well. The Hearts always treated him very well. Brett Owen always treated him very, very well. And Shawn Michaels and Triple H treated him very poorly. And now The Rock is Triple H's boss. How the tables have turned.
Well, and Shawn's boss, too, so that's even better.
That's right. He's also Shawn's boss. Which is great. I love it. I love The Rock. He's a good guy. He's one of the good ones in professional wrestling. If I heard that The Rock was involved in Vince McMahon or Brock Lesnar level stuff, I would be absolutely shocked. I don't think that's him. I don't.
No, I don't think so either, but I think we should probably talk about what happened at the end of SmackDown. I don't know how you felt about it. I have mixed feelings about it.
It pissed me off.
In the end, it accomplished. Okay. Yeah, the ending, but in terms of what they gave us, I mean, the ending kind of sucked, right? Because it cut off.
Yeah.
But what they gave us, I was still kind of like, this took a long time to finally get to something, which was nice, but it took a very long time to get to it. So I mixed feelings about that.
It took a while to get to it, and then by the time we got to it, you know, Cody slaps The Rock, and The Rock kind of reacts, and then the show ends. They ran out of time, and they had to end the show.
Yeah, I felt like we didn't really get enough of that.
No.
Like if anything, that should have been an hour almost, I guess. It should have been most of the show.
And they had Roman Reigns come out, do his entrance, which takes like 10 minutes. And I'm exaggerating, but it honestly takes about 5 whole minutes for him to actually get into the ring and the music stops. Right? It takes forever.
Yeah.
And then lights go out. Here comes The Rock. And his entrance is very long as well because he's soaking it in. He's, you know, taking his time. And then Cody's music hits. And then him and Seth start walking down the stairs. And all of this took about 8, 9, 10 minutes. And then we went to commercial. We just saw guys walk to a ring, and then we go to commercial. What?
Keeps you in suspense, no?
I was like, guys, we accomplished nothing here in 8-9 minutes of TV. We just saw guys walk out. And for the crowd live, it's cool. But, hey, there are millions of people around the world watching this thing. And for us, it was kind of lame. We know they're coming out. It's been advertised for a couple of weeks that all these guys are going to be in the ring together. We get it. And then when we came back from commercial, we have the promo. And it was all right. Cody's like, feel the moment. Look at that. We're in Dallas, Texas. It's the four of us here. It's cool. And it was cool. It was cool to see those four guys in the ring. I mean, Seth or whatever. But, right? I mean, with Cody and Rock and Roman, it's cool. It's cool. And Seth is there looking ridiculous. They had security around the ring, as well as Brutus Magnus, the GM of SmackDown. Nick Aldis. I always forget his name. In my notes, he's Brutus Magnus. I have notes here for SmackDown because I take notes because, obviously, I take all these things seriously. This is a serious business here. And I always just say Brutus Magnus. Huh?
Yeah, I thought it was intentional, so I didn't know you were, trying to search for the name.
No, I'm always searching for his name because whenever I see him, I think, hey, it's Brutus Magnus from TNA Wrestling. Every time I see him. It's that wrestling thing where it's like the first time, you meet a wrestler or whatever, that's just the name you give him forever. He's Brutus Magnus to me. I've never met him, but it's just how I've come to know him. He was Brutus Magnus for so long in TNA. And then he was Magnus. I know he had that Nick Aldis run in NWA, but I didn't watch that. When I watched him as a wrestler, he was Brutus Magnus. Okay?
Now we have a new Magnus after AEW Revolution. So now you can just think Magnus with that guy now, who has a mask.
Who's that?
You don't remember the scramble match they had at Revolution?
They had a guy called Magnus in that. I mean, there were so many guys. Jericho was in it. It was such a weird match. We'll talk about Revolution later. So Cody talks about how The Rock acknowledged Roman Reigns as the tribal chief last week and how, it's not so cool that he did that. And Cody says, you want the answer for the match at WrestleMania, the tag team match? Here it comes. And The Rock says, no, shut your mouth. And Seth Rollins, you shut your mouth before you even say anything. And The Rock says that he acknowledged Roman Reigns because that's what family does. And then the crowd starts chanting diarrhea. And I don't know if I've ever been so disappointed in a wrestling crowd than I was when the crowd tonight on SmackDown began to chant diarrhea. And this is, of course, because Seth Rollins cut a promo this week on Raw where he talked about how The Rock doesn't have cool catchphrases and how he's really lame and how we don't need him and how he just runs his mouth and we should just call him Diarrhea Dwayne. And the crowd on Raw, they were in, where were they Monday? Houston? No, San Antonio. They'll be in Houston coming up on Monday, the 11th. They were in San Antonio this past Monday. They loved it. They were chanting diarrhea. They thought it was real funny. Cody looked embarrassed to be standing next to Seth when he said that. And most wrestling fans that I've seen and heard from are saying, what the hell was that? It was his sufferin' succotash moment, where one time Roman Reigns, he said sufferin' succotash in a promo, and everybody was like, what the hell was that, man? Why did you say that? Everybody cringed. Cody looked like he was cringing the whole time. It was awful. I mean,
yeah.
To me, it was bad. To you, right? Like, I know you didn't like that. I know a lot of people didn't like that. The people that watch Wrestling Uncensored didn't like that. But the crowd in San Antonio and in Dallas, Texas tonight seemed to be into the diarrhea chant. Which, I gotta admit, though, as a wrestling fan, being in a crowd, if some dude started chanting diarrhea, I might join in because it is kind of funny to be chanting diarrhea live on national television. It is kind of funny. Like, it is, if you tune into TV and you didn't see the promo on Raw and you're watching The Rock, and all of a sudden, 10,000 people start chanting diarrhea, you might go, what the hell's going on here? It is kind of funny. There is a humor to it that I do see, but my God, it wasn't meant to be kind of funny in that way. Angelo liked it. Okay, Angelo liked it. He liked Diarrhea Dwayne. He thought it was a good line. Some people liked it. Some people that watch Wrestling Uncensored liked it. I know Angelo watches. I didn't like it.
Well, I guess we got to give Seth credit in the way he hyped it up. Because the way he did in the promo, he hyped it like it was going to be a big deal. Or what's he going to say about him? And this is what he's going to say. It's going to be Diarrhea Dwayne. And then he gave that enough time to let it sink in. And he's so over with the crowd. The crowd love him so much that even if he says like the dumbest things in the world, like you can say that The Rock is like a lame goat. They would just chant lame goat at him just because it's Seth who said it and the way he said it, just because he's so over. However, time will look back on this. We already look back on this and be like, this is terrible. In terms of comebacks, like, it's hard to get behind Cody and Seth for me personally because they're just getting killed in these promos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how can you like Cody and Seth when they have no comebacks whatsoever? And everything they say has just been lame. Mm-hmm. And again, tonight too, even with Cody getting the slap, it's almost like, well, now they're even with the slap, but The Rock also destroyed him in the sense that he's a mistake. So The Rock, again, got an over on him.
Yeah, that was a big one. It was kind of like Seth Rollins' Cookie Puss moment. Who had that? Who was that again? That was The Rock. That was Dwayne. That was awful. Yeah. When he was calling CM Punk Cookie Puss, I was like, oh, dude, you got to do a different line. It did get over, though. Chanted. It did get over. They chanted Cookie Puss at CM Punk. Cookie Puss.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah. Times you're embarrassed to be a wrestling fan. There are numerous. The diarrhea chants tonight, the Cookie Puss chants back in 2013 or whatever it was. Good God Almighty. So the promo was good from The Rock here tonight. He, after the crowd started chanting diarrhea, Seth Rollins started dancing, all proud of himself, right? Which was just... And then Cody, again, looks embarrassed. But then Seth gets in The Rock's face, calls him Mr. Midlife Crisis, and he says, you've had your time, but you can't take ours. Which I thought was a good line. Solid from Seth.
That was okay.
Making a point. This is, you're the old thing. We're right now. Stop taking the spotlight, taking our spot, all that stuff. Sure, I get it. Good line. It worked. It was the one Seth Rollins line that he has had this entire program with The Rock and Roman that's been good. It was the first time because it felt real. It felt like Kobe Lopez more than Seth Rollins, like it felt like the real guy rather than this ridiculous over-the-top character he plays. Well, he needs to be the real guy. He needs to be the real guy way more. He needs to kill this over-the-top, ridiculous, laughing, dancing thing. I know he thinks it's working, but I think if he was just more authentic, a little bit more realistic, he would have more success and more people would like him. I think people would be less embarrassed to like him. He's kind of embarrassing.
I think the problem is he likes doing the stupid laugh and he likes to dance around like he thinks it's good. And he thinks dressing up like his wife is a good idea. I mean, whatever. He's making the millions. Let him do it.
Okay.
But I agree with you.
So Seth accepts the WrestleMania challenge, and then Roman gets on the mic for the first time this whole time. And he starts laughing, and I think Roman kind of lost it here. So Roman starts laughing at Cody And he's like, oh, you're really going to let Seth answer for you? You're really going to let Super chat. This cross-dresser do your decisions for you? It just kind of went sideways at that point. You go, wait a second. You just say cross-dresser on Fox? Can you say that? Can you say? I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can call somebody a cross-dresser and then as like an insult, especially, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if the sponsor's going to be happy with that. And then after he said cross-dresser, he says, do your decisions for you, because I think he was like, oh, shit, I said a thing that's bad. This is not. And then he just kind of trailed off, and The Rock starts talking again. The Rock's like, let me,
save this.
Roman fell apart. A rare instance here where I feel like Roman kind of, he tried to be more like Cousin Dwayne, where he's like saying things and like going off the cuff and like being a little risque, but he said a thing that he shouldn't say, and he realized like, oh shit, like, damn it. And then his promo, like in his mind, he's like panicking, and the promo went. I've seen it happen before, where a guy says a thing that he knows he's not supposed to say, and then he's in his head, and then the rest of the promo, he's just like, and then I'm gonna just do that, and I'm gonna get you. And then he hands the mic off because he's lost. He's done, right? You're a wrestler, John. You know what I'm talking about. That's what happened to the tribal chief tonight. He got rattled, which is very unlike Roman.
Well, I think what happened was, like you said, he tried to live up to what The Rock was doing. He tried to be as edgy as The Rock, and he went too far. And I'm sure he feels bad about it. I'm sure he didn't mean it to come out the way it did, but it happened. And you just have to move on and live with it. That's it. I mean, it's tough in the moment, but he's a strong person. He can get through this.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. But the promo was a little, as The Rock used to say, "Cum si, cum sa," which he can't say anymore. Doug Hepburn says, can you smell what Ringside Report is cooking? Dropping the super chat. Thank you, Doug. And I just did the thing, the people's eyebrow. Now I can do the people's eyebrow, right? Now, The Rock used to do this. This used to be a thing that he used to do, right? The people's eyebrow. He used to, right? He dropped the shades, do the people's eyebrow. He doesn't do it anymore. And I'm wondering, is it possible? Because he is Mr. Hollywood here, and he does look pretty good. Is it possible that he is unable to do the people's eyebrow because of Botox? I think this is a valid question that we need to be asking, John. As professional wrestling journalists, we need to get to the bottom of this. Why is The Rock no longer doing the eyebrow? Is it because his forehead is so frozen that he can no longer manipulate his eyebrows?
I feel like I've seen him do it recently. It's just he rarely does it.
I have not seen him do it. I have not seen him do it in, I feel like, years.
I feel like he did an interview like for a movie, and they were saying like, you do the people's eyebrow, and you mean like this, and he did it. I felt like he did that. So, and this was a recent movie too.
Okay. So, well, I got to see him do it on TV or something. I haven't seen him do it, and I'm wondering, like, is there a Botox issue? Very Hollywood, right? Jimmy James says, super valid question. I'm just posing the questions, John. Looking for answers.
Just telling you what I think I saw.
Okay.
But it's a good question.
We love The Rock. The Rock says he owns the WWE, and he is Cody and Seth's boss. And if Cody doesn't win at WrestleMania and beat Roman, he'll never get a shot at this again. And this, I don't know what this meant. I don't know if he meant the WWE Championship. I don't know if he meant him and Roman Reigns at the same time. I don't know if he meant just Roman Reigns with the WWE title or Roman Reigns in general. It was kind of unclear what this meant. I think he meant the WWE Championship, because he was also saying, like, Cody, if you can beat us in the tag team match, then you'll have Roman to yourself, and you can finish your story, and you can achieve the dream that your daddy never did. Which, all of this, the stipulation for the tag team match, which is now official, right? Rock talks about Cody and his family. He says Cody is 20 years younger than his siblings, and he wonders why. And he says it's because, Cody, you were a mistake. And then Cody slaps The Rock, and the show cut off. Just as The Rock was going to maybe retaliate in some way. I don't know what happened when the show went off the air, but that's what happened at the end of SmackDown. But just the stipulation, right? So the stipulation is if Rock and Roman win, then it's bloodline rules at WrestleMania between Cody and Roman on night 2, and anything goes, and the Solo can interfere, and Jimmy Uso can interfere, and The Rock can interfere, and all of this, and Cody will definitely not win. But if Cody and Seth win on night 1, they beat Rock and Roman in the tag match, then the Bloodline and The Rock and everybody, they're all barred from the arena for night 2 of WrestleMania, and Cody and Roman will be one-on-one. And Rock is saying, if you beat us, you can finish your story and be champion. Which is selling Roman short in a major way, saying, Roman will be by himself, nobody will be there to cheat for him, and there's no way he could possibly beat you one-on-one in a match, which he has been WWE champion for over 1,000 days. He has had people help him win and cheat and stuff, but he's also been kind of a dominant champion. It's weird that they're framing it as if Roman has interference, he'll win, but if he doesn't, then he's totally screwed. They're making Roman look real, weak. Like, until The Rock showed up, Roman was the top dog in all of the WWE. He was built so strong. No one questioned him. He was just this figure imposing over everyone. And now The Rock showed up, and he's kind of like, it's that guy from The Shield. Him and Seth Rollins are like in a thing, He's like not the tribal chief anymore. He's kind of, and he cut a promo tonight that kind of felt like, it's the old Roman again. The guy who kind of stumbles and fumbles and isn't confident, isn't sure of himself. It's a little worrisome.
I wouldn't be too worried. I'm not too worried about Roman whatsoever. I don't feel this makes him weak in a sense. It just plays up to the story we've been getting told, where he's won, his last match is a whole past year. It's always been interference.
Yeah.
Doesn't it make sense to make sure there would be no interference? Like that, you'd want that?
Yeah, it does. But The Rock framing it to Cody as, can't Rock say, Cody, you'll get a chance one-on-one with Roman, but he'll still whoop your ass because you're a jabroni, Can he say that? But he's not saying that.
He's not saying that. That's true.
Maybe there's a reason. And maybe Roman will be upset about that, and that'll be one of the reasons that they have friction, and then The Rock and Roman break off, and they wrestle each other down the road, right? It's another one you could throw in there.
That's one. The fact that Seth accepted it. There's nothing in the line. It's Cody that does.
Yeah.
But Seth accepted it, so that's kind of interesting.
And how about this? So Cody and Roman are wrestling each other on night 2. And then they're wrestling each other on night 1 in a tag team match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rock is wrestling in the tag team match, and that's it, as far as we know. Seth is wrestling in the tag team match on night 1, and then defending his world title against Drew McIntyre on night 2. But Drew McIntyre doesn't have to wrestle on night 1. He doesn't have to do anything. Doesn't seem fair.
Well, this is what Drew was telling Seth a couple weeks ago. Like, you get it out of this. It's not your concern. You're only going to hurt yourself. And Seth's like, it's worth it. Because he needs help take down the bloodline. That's his side of the story.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense when you got to defend your title against Drew McIntyre that you would face The Rock and Roman Reigns in a tag team match the night before. shouldn't the WWE step in and be like, this isn't unfair, so we're going to have Drew wrestle in some sort of match on night one? You know, he's got to compete in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal or something.
I mean, they accepted it. I mean, it's fair. They wanted the match. They accepted the match. It's a challenge. Why not?
But there is a precedent here, John. WrestleMania 10. Lex Luger, Bret Hart. Lex Luger wrestled Yokozuna. Bret Hart had to wrestle Owen Hart to make it fair, and then Bret wrestled the winner of Lex and Yoko, which turned out to be Yoko, and then became champion. End of the night. So, they all wrestled twice.
But that was the setup because the way it was done, whereas, whoever won the coin toss, they had a coin toss for that one.
Yeah.
Whoever won the coin toss, I think Bret won the coin toss. So Bret had to face Owen because of the coin toss. And Luger had to face Yoko the first night. But if Luger won the coin toss, Luger would have faced Crush instead. And Bret would have done that against Yoko. So that was the stipulations.
Was it going to be Crush? Wow.
That was the stipulations put in place.
So we almost didn't get Crush and Macho Man at WrestleMania 10.
Macho's last WrestleMania, yeah.
Yeah. I like that match, by the way. People didn't like that Crush Macho match. I always thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
I thought it was all right. Short, but it was all right.
I like that we are recounting details about a WrestleMania that I now realize happened 30 years ago, because that's WrestleMania 10 and we're coming up on WrestleMania 40. We know a lot about wrestling, John. We've been following this for a very long time. WrestleMania 10 doesn't seem like 30 years ago, but it was.
Well, for me, that's watching one of the biggest WrestleManias of all time, because for me, wanting Bret to win the title back, that was huge. I was into every little thing that was happening back then, so I was so happy when Bret was going to face Owen, because I'm like, that's the way he'll get the title.
Still my favorite. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it just didn't matter if he lost to Owen or not. He did lose to Owen, but to me it didn't matter as long as he won the title, which is what happened.
And Owen watching him at the end of the night while all the guys are holding him on the shoulders, and he's got the championship, and Owen's just standing there like, I beat you. I just beat you. Now you're champion? That was the best. Such a great story. Bret and Owen, WrestleMania 10, still my favorite match of all time. It'll never change. That's just, if I have to pick one favorite match, it's that one, easily.
It's good. I think I like Bret and Austin more, but, different types of matches.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that brother thing. I like it. It's a hell of a match. All right. So, Roman, Rock, Cody, Seth, tag team match is official. Official. Night one of WrestleMania. They're doing it.
It's good.
Also official at WrestleMania, something that I really don't like. I don't know if this is gimmick or real. I feel like it's real. The Logan Paul thing with the Prime bottle in the ring. You didn't see all of this, right? I think you missed the beginning of SmackDown.
I saw a Prime bottle and I saw an RKO on KSI. That.
So Logan Paul cuts an in-ring promo to start the show. He unveils the Prime logo, the Prime bottle logo in the middle of the ring. This big advertisement for Prime.
Right.
And he says that it will be in the ring
at WrestleMania?
Starting at WrestleMania, and for every WWE PLE going forward. Every premium live event, they will have a big Prime bottle in the middle of the ring.
Good for him.
It got heat. People booed. I booed. And then he introduces business partner KSI, and then Randy Orton's music hit, and they're looking at the entrance, and Randy appears from under the ring, and he goes to RKO Logan Paul, but Logan escapes, so Randy hits the RKO on KSI instead. But I don't like the idea of a big Prime bottle in the middle of the ring. It's ugly. I don't like it.
It's part of his deal, possibly, so I mean, that's what you get when he's a part of the roster. I mean, to me, it's not that big of a deal.
I think Prime is paying for it. That's not like part of his deal with WWE. That's a separate deal. I think that's a Prime, advertising thing. Prime is doing that advertising with the WWE. I think he gets that spot in the in the ring because of his affiliation with WWE. He may get an advantage there, but I think that's Prime paying for it. They pay for promotion in the UFC too. You see the Prime advertising on the side of the octagon. I guess they're trying to make the WWE ring look more like a UFC octagon with kind of advertising and stuff inside. I don't like that. That's not for pro wrestling.
Well, I don't know about you. I see a lot of people drinking Prime these days. Like most road trips I take now, people are like, "Oh, you should try this Prime. It's really good." I still won't drink it because I think Logan Paul's a scumbag. But I mean, I do see how people would like it. Like it does seem like looks like a decent energy drink.
I don't really like it. I've had Prime. I don't like it.
But you didn't have all the flavors though. Certain flavors apparently are better than others.
Yeah, I've had a couple flavors. I was like, it's not so good. I prefer Gatorade. It's better.
Me too. I'm more of a Gatorade guy.
Yeah. We're old, though, John. We like the old man drink. All the kids, they love the Prime. It's big.
Well,
big with the kids.
They don't have a problem. They don't have a problem with the Pauls. I think, Logan Paul's a scumbag, so it's a different thing.
You think his brother's going to beat Mike Tyson?
I think it's a clown show pretty much. I don't even know if he'll get a winner on that one, to be honest. I could see there being no winner, or might be like a draw or whatever. Like I just see it being a whole gimmick kind of show. It's just to draw people into like a fight that's not even really a fight. Yeah,
it's a freak show. And I saw that they don't even know if it's going to be a pro bout or an exhibition. And if it's an exhibition, that means it's like not really a fight. I mean, they fight, but at the end of it, there's no winner announced, which is exactly how it went with Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Like, they had a boxing match, but at the end, there was no decision. There was no judges. If you get knocked out, you get knocked out. It is what it is, but they tend to not go for the knockout. They're not going for the kill in an exhibition. And if they do that, lame. I want to see them fighting. I want to see it be a pro bout. I don't see any reason why not, other than Tyson's age and possible medical condition. If it's a real fight, I can't imagine Mike Tyson winning, but Fred and AJ are adamant that he will. And I was shocked last night.
I believe in Tyson's power. I believe that 100%.
I believe in it for a couple of minutes. He's almost 60, man. It's hard. I mean,
that's it, yeah. But I believe he has the power to do it, without question.
30 years older than his opponent. I mean, at that point, it makes a difference. Jake Paul's training every day. He's taking boxing fights. He's not Mike Tyson in his prime. He's not anywhere close, but Mike Tyson's not in his prime. Jake Paul knocked down Anderson Silva and Nate Diaz in boxing matches.
That's true.
And those guys are both younger than Mike Tyson.
Right? No, I believe it. But what's the weight difference, though? Is Tyson like a lot bigger than him?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how much bigger. Jake Paul's pretty big.
Yeah, he's decent size, but Tyson, like especially before, he was massive.
Yeah.
I worry about that power, man.
Yeah, I'd love to see Mike Tyson knock out Jake Paul. I think that would be fantastic. It'd be fantastic. It'd be so funny.
Well, you guys will do a watch along, so that'll be fun to watch.
We have to. It's going to be on Netflix. So, easy. Everybody can watch it with us. It'll be great. Everybody's got Netflix, or access to somebody's Netflix account. So I think a lot of people are going to watch that thing July 20th. I'm already excited. Got that circled on the calendar. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens beat Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller from Australia. Randy hit the RKO on Theory. And then Logan Paul hit a double clothesline on Randy and Kevin Owens from behind and dropped them after the match. I was like, what? Okay. Then Logan went to grab brass knuckles, but Randy took them from him, and then Logan ran away, and Randy took the brass knuckles, and he looked like maybe he was thinking about hitting Kevin Owens with them, and Kevin was like, what's going on here? And Randy's like, no, I'm putting them in my trunks, which was an odd move. But, yeah, so Randy confiscated Logan's brass knuckles. Yeah. Bayley was interviewed backstage about Dakota Kai, how she turned on her last week, and she's wondering if Damage Control was ever really on her side. And then we cut to Naomi and Bianca Belair watching the promo backstage, and Naomi feels bad for Bayley, but Bianca doesn't. And I don't know, is this their ticket to WrestleMania where they're just the backup for Bayley in this match? I feel like Naomi and Bianca should be doing more than that, especially Bianca. Naomi, I mean, whatever. She's just coming back to WWE. She hasn't really started anything, but Bianca is one of the top stars on the whole roster. The fact that she doesn't have a clear path to WrestleMania right now is disappointing, to say the least. And some people were mad at Bianca this week. Did you see that? People were being racist, saying racist things to Bianca Belair because they were mad that she's on the cover of the video game. What? She's one of the biggest stars in the company. I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, people are mad at Bianca Belair for what? What did she say something? No, she's just on the cover of the video game. I was like, what the hell is wrong with people?
People are just stupid.
Yeah. She's a phenomenal talent. She's got everything you would want. She's got loads of charisma, athleticism. She can have some very good matches. She can cut promos. She has a great look. Like, she's got everything. She's a total package of what a professional wrestler should be. And people are mad at her like she's not good. She's main evented WrestleMania. She's won a Royal Rumble. Like, she's done everything. She's one of the top stars in the company. The fact that she hasn't been on the cover of the video game is kind of nuts at this point. What? I couldn't believe people were mad that Bianca was on the cover of the video game. I was like, this is Bianca Belair. She's gonna go in the Hall of Fame easily. She's been on the main roster for what? 3, 4 years, 5 at the most.
Yeah, it's about that.
At the most on the main roster. She was in NXT for a little while before that, but she hasn't been up on the main roster for long, and already she's a Hall of Famer. And I think everybody watching would agree. She is going in the Hall of Fame. She's a living legend at this point. I mean, people getting mad at Bianca is nuts.
Well, it's ridiculous if you get mad because of race. That's absolutely ridiculous and unacceptable, I think. So hopefully WWE got rid of those kind of comments, because that kind of attitude shouldn't be tolerated whatsoever, I think, in the whole WWE landscape. So that's just dumb. And those people shouldn't even get acknowledged whatsoever. So it's stupid that we're even going down this route, because they don't deserve the attention whatsoever. So
yeah,
I think Bianca's going to get a big match at Mania against the Kabuki Warriors. I guess it's going to be Naomi as her tag partner. I could see that.
Yep. I think there should be a women's tag team match at WrestleMania. Asuka and Kairi Sane need to defend those belts at Mania. Bianca and Naomi could be a good tag team. I know people were looking for Jade Cargill to get a spot at WrestleMania. People wanted to see Bianca and Jade as a tag team. I think that could work too. I mean, Bianca and anybody is a tag team. Bianca and Liv Morgan as a tag team. Bianca and Raquel Rodriguez as a tag team. Bianca and Mi Chin as a tag team. I mean, honestly, Bianca and I think Bianca and Tiffany Stratton would make a very good tag team.
Doesn't make sense in terms of the way it's shaped up right now, but I get what you're talking about.
As far as the talent and the type of athletes that they are, I think that they would complement each other very well in a tag team.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I think having a feud, especially at this point in time, would be better for both. I think it'd be better for Bianca to showcase what she can do with someone new on the roster and give Tiffany a bit of a rub by wrestling someone who's already been put over quite a bit. So I think it'd be better them against each other at this point.
Yeah, maybe. Bianca is the leader in that match, though. I don't know. I don't know how that turns out necessarily.
Yeah, she got to prove herself. I mean, you had to follow, now lead.
Right. She's kind of at that stage, right? when you're kind of new, you lead, you get led, they treat you well, and they give you to some more experienced wrestlers, and they show you, and they kind of lead the match and tell you what to do and where to go, and then you get to a point where you've been there a while, and now you're in charge, and there's some younger wrestlers that are coming up, and they're looking at you like, what do we do? And then you got to have answers, right? Ideas.
One, you've seen it. Some are better than others. Sometimes Charlotte's good at it. Sometimes she's not very good at it. It depends who it is. Chemistry is a big thing. So I think Bianca, for the most part, has good chemistry with most. Kairi Sane, not so much. But everyone else, so far, it seems, yes.
Bianca does have pretty good matches with everybody, and some people she has some excellent matches with. But again, like when she wrestles Asuka, it's really good. But Asuka is one of the most experienced on the roster. She's leading.
It's a different kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. And that's it. To see what would be like with Tiffany, where it's like, yep, Bianca's going to have to lead that one. But it's not the same thing, too. It's not so much you're the vet, you lead. It's more give and take now at this point, because they go over the match like a good month or so before it even happens. So they have an idea what's going to happen, and they have house shows to practice it. So it's not completely the same where it's always the vet leading.
I would like to see Tiffany Stratton versus Bianca Belair, or Tiffany Stratton and Bianca together. I think there's a lot you could do there. I'd like to see Tiffany Stratton get a spot at WrestleMania. She's impressed me quite a bit in her short time on SmackDown. I'd like to see her involved. There's a lot of women on the roster that don't have a clear path to Mania at this point, and we're getting closer to the date. We're like 3 weeks away.
You know what happens?
Battle Royal?
There you go.
Yeah,
it's done.
You can't put Bianca in a Battle Royal, though. I think Bianca has to be in a tag team match for the titles.
Of course.
And, take your pick of who her tag team partner will be. Tonight on SmackDown, it seemed like maybe it was going to be Naomi.
So far, yeah, Naomi. I mean, who else when you think about it? I mean, you list a bunch of other people, but I feel Naomi is the top pick right now.
I mean, not many other women worked on SmackDown tonight. You had Tiffany Stratton getting a win over Michin. Zelina Vega's on SmackDown sometimes. B-Fab and Scarlett were on SmackDown tonight. I don't think either B-Fab or Scarlett will be Bianca's tag team partner.
No, I don't see that either. I mean, Liv's not impossible, but I feel that they're turning her heel, though, so I don't know if it would work.
Liv doesn't have a path either, and I feel like she's a star in the WWE to a point where she's got a good fan base. She gets a pop when she comes out. Her wrestling is steadily improved. She came back from an injury.
She could win the Battle Royal.
No, but who won the Battle Royal? Are you saying this year she can win the Battle Royal? Liv.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I guess that could be a spot for her, winning the Women's Battle Royal. It's not the best, but it's better than nothing. Bayley, of course, has a clear path to WrestleMania. She will be wrestling Io Sky in a match that I'm looking forward to. I expect that match to be very good. Both experienced wrestlers. They're going to be killing it in the ring. A nice long build to this whole story. I think it's going to be very good. And Bayley next week, as we heard from Damage Control saying, Bayley, it was so easy to fool you. You should have seen this coming. And now we're going to destroy you. And Dakota Kai will wrestle Bayley next week. Dakota's been injured, has not wrestled on SmackDown for over a year, but she is back in the ring now, which changes the dynamic for Damage Control, as now they have 4 active wrestlers on that team, not just 3 and a manager there with Dakota standing outside. Now she's in a match. She will wrestle Bayley on SmackDown next week, which was an interesting development. So that's happening. That's a thing. How about Dragon Lee? Sorry, what? You want to talk about Bayley? I mean, that match should be real good, and, it's coming.
Like, I felt that really pushed over Dakota, like, on Raw when they showed up. Like, she's pretty much the mouthpiece now. They needed that, and she fits that role. Makes sense. Like, she could lose to Bayley. They could all lose to Bayley going into this, but still have her in that role of talking, at least. I think it's the best use of her.
Yep. I think Dakota with damage control makes a ton of sense. I like, though, that they ran a backstage promo, but it was clearly pre-taped because they had subtitles for the Japanese.
Yes.
So they let the Japanese women speak Japanese again and do their whole promo in Japanese, and it was subtitled, which I think is really good. You have Dakota speak English and the rest of them speak Japanese, and it comes off very nicely. I thought the promo was solid. Dragon Lee beat Humberto Carrillo with a roll-up and then got beat up by the Legado del Fantasma. Of course, it was Santos Escobar and Humberto Carrillo Angel Garza wrestled in the match. It was Angel Garza. Humberto was outside. Angel Garza lost to Dragon Lee, and they all beat him up. I don't know where the LWO was. You know, these Legado del Fantasma guys, they hate the LWO. They're feuding with them last week. Carlito and Cruz and Wild and all those guys, Zelina. And then this week, none of them are there to back up Dragon Lee. He just takes a beatdown.
Well,
Next week, Rey Mysterio will be on SmackDown. They announced that. Where's Rey? Where's the LWO? Are they all at Dominic's wedding? Dominic Mysterio got married this week, by the way. Congratulations to Dirty Dom.
I saw something about that. I didn't really care to look into it too much, but congrats. That's good for him. But that's it. Like, I guess for whatever reason, LWO is not there, but Dragon Lee's not a part of the LWO officially, right? So
he was like defending Rey Mysterio and wearing Rey's shirt, and they showed a promo last week where he was with the LWO talking about how he's going to get revenge, and they were all happy together.
Well, next time, make sure you have backup. You know, you're just kind of dumb where it's like, oh, I'm going to be with you guys, but, you know, they don't come out with you, or you don't know if they're in the building. Kind of ridiculous.
Heartless. You are heartless, Johnny North. Bobby Lashley. Roberto Lashley. That is his name. Bobby is short for Roberto. I was surprised when I learned that. I like to mention it from time to time because I'm sure some people don't know. Roberto Lashley. I like it. I would like to see him go under Roberto once in a while. Anyways, you think anybody calls him Roberto?
Probably his friends, but I think Bobby Lashley sounds like a much better wrestling name.
Burt Lashley? You don't think Burt Lashley works?
No, I think it's terrible.
Burt Lashley.
It's awful.
Bobby Lashley?
Big
Bobby?
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby
Sounds
Lashley. Great. Like Brock Lesnar says, he's just Bobby Lashley.
It rolls up tongue really well.
Oh, so funny. Those Brock Lesnar promos were odd. Not the most odd thing about Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley beat Karrion Kross by disqualification when the AOP attacked. I mean, these guys just wrestled for a while, and it was meh, and then the AOP jumped in and ended it. And then the Street Profits jumped in, and they make the save, and Scarlett jumped in the ring, and then B-Fab showed up, and she slapped Scarlett. And then Lashley put the Hurt Lock on one of the AOP guys, on Karrion Kross, but the AOP then came in, and they stopped Bobby Lashley, and they took out the Street Profits, and then Karrion Kross hit his finish on Bobby Lashley. So it was a little back and forth brawling between the two teams that ended with Karrion Kross, Ghoul guys, whatever they are, Ministry of Darkness, Jabronis. They were on top at the end of it. This whole thing sucks. It's the worst part of SmackDown, John. What do you say?
Final Testament. That's the name of the group you're talking about. I know you're looking for names. That's the name you're looking for.
It doesn't matter what their name is.
Fair enough. I think a lot of people would probably agree with you on that one, but they do exist, and this is continuing, and I'm going to guess there's going to be a big multi-man at WrestleMania in some capacity.
Yeah, maybe with Scarlett wrestling too, and B-Fab. Everybody's going to wrestle. It'll be probably AOP, Street Profits, AOP and Karrion, and Scarlett versus Bobby, Street Profits, and B-Fab, right? 8-person tag.
Makes sense.
Whack. Who needs that?
Well, we got 2 nights. Got to fill them up somehow.
Yep. We'll also fill them up with AJ Styles versus LA Knight. The build for this has been real bad. AJ cut a promo, and then LA Knight started attacking a TV screen that he was watching the promo on. Ugh. LA Knight, man. He was here. Now he's here. And it's not his fault.
Yeah, I just don't know what wrestling AJ Styles is really going to help him that much. Like, I mean, it's great to wrestle someone. AJ could have a good match, but in terms of the long-term goals, you wonder. So it's not really what he needs at WrestleMania. He needs to be in that U.S. title match. It's very disappointing he's not.
Yep. The U.S. title match looks like it'll be Randy versus Logan Paul, but maybe Kevin Owens involved too. I think Kevin Owens, triple threat, maybe. Him and Randy are not going to last as a tag team. Something will happen.
I think you throw in LA, you throw in AJ. It makes it a better match. Make it a scramble, whatever, ladder. It's better that way.
I think they're separating it. They need more matches to fill time. Like you said.
That's too bad. It's not the right way to use them, I think. But that's their call. That's their beliefs.
But it's a separate issue right now, right? I mean, it's just two separate stories going. There's Randy and Kevin Owens not liking Logan Paul, and then there's AJ Styles and LA Knight hell-bent on destroying each other.
But they were connected before. And
yeah, but I'm saying they've disconnected. I think it's disconnected. Yeah. It seems like reading the writing on the wall here, John, it's going to be two separate matches. It'll be a triple threat for the U.S. title and AJ versus LA Knight one-on-one.
Yeah, it just feels like it should be more than that, but that's too bad. Because I feel LA and AJ, it's going to be a good match, but I don't think people would really care.
I agree 100%.
Too bad.
Yeah. The night before WrestleMania, they're going to do the WWE Hall of Fame, and they've already announced Paul Heyman, Bull Nakano, and the tag team of the U.S. Express, Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham. This will be the second time they induct Barry Windham into the Hall of Fame. He was inducted as one of the Four Horsemen.
You know, no offense to them, but it's a little disappointing it's not the Midnight Express. I feel like they should have been put in, especially because Bobby Eaton passed away. I feel like they deserve to be in there, but that's too bad.
I think they're doing this because it's Bray Wyatt's dad and uncle.
Well, Bray Wyatt's going to get put in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, but like you said, like it isn't Barry Windham already put in?
Barry was part of the Horsemen, yeah, and now he's part of a tag team. I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
You don't really need to put him in again, but... And I just feel there's more tag teams that haven't been put in that should be put in. Midnight Express is one of them. Demolition's another. I feel like you can go on and on with this list, to be honest.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that could be put in that are not in the Hall of Fame. But, I don't mind. Given what happened to the guy's son, I mean, come on. And if Bray Wyatt is going into the Hall of Fame, it's kind of, you put them all together. It's not bad.
Well, no, I mean, you put his dad in, and that's great, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
And, it's not a bad thing to put Barry in. Like, again, like, the idea is not bad. It's just there's so many people still missing out, and you had an opportunity here. I mean, you could have put Mike Rotunda in, just as IRS. That could have worked.
Yep.
People would have accepted it at this point.
Yep. I don't disagree. You could have put IRS into the WWE Hall of Fame. He's a big character. Paul Heyman, I mean, obviously, no argument there. It was a matter of time before they put Heyman in the Hall of Fame. I think as he's still an active manager, it's not really a problem. He's not an active wrestler, and we've had active wrestlers as WWE Hall of Famers as well. It's fine by me inducting Heyman. I think it makes sense. The speech will be great. Whoever inducts him will be great. And it's in Philadelphia, which is kind of a home away from home for Paul Heyman. He's from New York, but ECW's home was Philadelphia. And, of course, ECW was the promotion that Paul Heyman created. And it's nice to see Heyman go into the Hall of Fame in Philadelphia, and I don't know when they're going to be in Philly for WrestleMania again. So I get it.
No, the timing makes sense, and he's a great personality. Like I said, it'll be a great speech no matter what. So it's, why not? The timing just works. Do it.
Yeah, I agree. And Bull Nakano, I think, yeah, for sure. She was a legend of Japanese wrestling, and, she was a legend of WWF wrestling for me. I remember growing up as a kid, there were 2 women's wrestlers in the WWE, Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano. And that's it. It was them 2, and they wrestled a bunch for a while, and then they weren't there anymore, and then Alundra Blaze dumped the belt in the garbage can like a year later or whatever. I hadn't seen them for a while. But they were the 2 wrestlers in the WWF that were women. It was them. That was it. The only ones I ever saw on WWF Superstars were Alundra Blaze and Bull Nakano. Sometimes they were against each other, and then other times they were just against jabronis. But either way, they were the only 2 in the division. And I know Medusa, Alundra Blaze, she's in the WWE Hall of Fame. So, yeah, Bull Nakano. Makes sense to me. She's a pioneer.
Well, I think Bull Nakano also was the first one to defeat Alundra Blaze, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So it's the first true rival for her, I would say. Maybe it wasn't the actual first true rival, but first one where you're like, ooh, this is something, like she could lose kind of thing. And I guess Bertha Faye was also in that mix as well, but to me, Nakano had that look where it's like, you won't forget her, because that look just stood out so much. And her wrestling wasn't bad, too. Like, again, like, women's wrestling wasn't much back in, like, the mid-90s. But the matches were actually pretty decent to watch.
Yeah. And Jimmy James saying, how dare you forget the fabulous Moolah. I'm not forgetting Moolah. She just wasn't really a wrestler in the new generation WWF era of the early and mid-90s. She wasn't around.
She's erased for different reasons, too, by the way.
Yeah, she's been erased from the history of the WWE because of the, look at the Dark Side of the Ring on Moolah. Speaking of Dark Side of the Ring, did you see the new episode? They had a season premiere. The new season has begun, which is always fun as a wrestling fan to watch that. I woke up early, what was it, Thursday morning? Thursday morning. When does it air? Wednesday night?
I believe in Canada it aired on Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong. I didn't catch it this week, but I think it was John Tenta, right?
Yeah, it was John Tenta. Anyways, I watched it. It was good.
And how was it?
It was good. It was interesting. It was sad, The guy died of cancer real young. He left a young family behind. It was sad.
See, to me, sad. Dark Side of the Ring, John Tenta, like, what was it really a dark side of?
No, he was a good, normal family guy. Okay. Wrestling career kind of fizzled out. He wound up working in retail. Just kind of,
He had a good career. I mean, being Earthquake, that was kind of a big deal. The natural disasters, that was kind of a huge deal for a bit.
Yeah, no, he did have a good career. They were WWF Tag Team Champions. I mean, I remember Earthquake and Typhoon, the natural disasters. I referenced them a lot on the show over the years because I always thought a tag team like that today would be incredible. Another team like the Natural Disasters, we really haven't seen another team like them since then.
That's true, I guess. Maybe just haven't really thought about it, but you're possibly right.
Well, who was like a big, husky guy? Like 2 of them like that? With the mullets and the beard and everything? I mean, come on.
I think of Fire and Ice a little bit. They were kind of like that almost.
Who's
not
that?
As successful.
Who?
That was Scott Norton and the Ice Train in WCW.
Yeah, they're not the natural disasters. Those guys were huge. They were 400 pounds.
Both of them were 400 pounds,
Over.
Yes. But I believe they weren't far behind Ice Train and Scott Norton, though. They were close.
Scott Norton is a big dude, but he's no John Tenta. He's no Typhoon. Right. Those guys were big.
They were massive. It's true.
But like
timing too.
I mean, they went into Shockmaster and what happened there. Like, it was about John Tenta, but also a bit about his tag team partner. Like, it was, because it didn't have a real dark tale. It was kind of like a normal tale of a wrestler. He had a big career in the 90s. Things weren't working out. He went to WCW. He had to change his name, and he was the Shark. He had some bad gimmicks, and then he turned it around, and then he left. He went to Japan. He went here. He went there. In the end, the wrestling career wasn't working out so well. He decided to open up a wrestling school. He went bankrupt at the wrestling school after a year, and then he had to go work like a regular job because he wasn't getting any bookings, or he didn't feel like wrestling, or his body was too broke down, or whatever. And then he got real bad cancer, and he died, a young man. It's just a sad story. Canadian guy from out in BC, a very good amateur wrestler, Canadian national champion.
That's sad. I remember he wrestled for Jacques Rougeau in like 2001 or 2002. Yeah, it was 2001, I think, at the Bell Center. Jacques booked Earthquake, I think, against King Kong Bundy, if not mistaken. That was a match. But I don't believe Earthquake came back after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing he died not too long after, sadly.
Yeah. Earthquake passed away at the age of 42 in 2006.
Yeah, so 5 years later.
Yeah.
Wow. That's sad.
Yeah, he had a sumo career as well.
Yeah, they mentioned that when he faced Yokozuna, if I'm not mistaken.
Tell me Earthquake here doesn't look like Baron Corbin. Just in the face.
A little bit. A little in the face, yeah, sure.
Also, there's pictures of Earthquake where he kind of looks like Kevin from The Office. Without the beard,
Without the beard, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I get you.
But regular Earthquake, of course, big beard. Natural Disasters. I mean, this was a tag team. I love these guys. I was a big, big fan of the Natural Disasters. And I still am. Look at these guys. Phenomenal. These guys were like 29 years old when this picture was taken?
Well, I remember Earthquake. Didn't he make his debut? Like, they just pulled him out of the crowd or something? That was the angle?
Yeah.
And then, like, that's how he started, pretty much, for Jimmy Hart?
Yeah.
Kind of cool. Just like a regular kind of guy, and suddenly, oh, nope.
Yeah, but you see the look on him? He's like bald, he's huge. He looks about 40. But
he looked, when he pulled him from the crowd, yeah, it looked like he was, middle age, whatever kind of guy, and then just suddenly, whoa. He's not a normal guy.
But he was like, what I'm saying is he was young. He was like looking like that at 28.
Well, I think when you go bald early, it ages you, I think.
Yeah. But even Typhoon was young. And he looks old in that picture, too.
Yeah. No, you're right about that.
Because 2006, right? If he's 42 in 2006, in 1996, he's 32. So in, like, 1991, right? Like, when did he start in WWF? He started in WWF in 1989. So in 1989, when he's debuting for WWF, looking like a full-grown man, let's see, 32 and 96, so 89 is 7 years. 25 years old? Wait a second. 25 years old. I just want to show you a picture of Earthquake in his WWF debut, just
shirt.
So you know.
I remember the blue shirt. I remember that.
Like, this is Earthquake, like, early in his career. This is a 25-year-old man. What?
He wasn't as big, though, I feel like, when he first started, but he got bigger as he went on.
Come on. There he is. There's the shirt.
Yep. There it is, yeah. Mm. Yeah, with Dino Bravo, that's it. Yeah,
with Dino Bravo. There he is. That's a 25-year-old man.
I guess he was bigger than remember him as. I remember just thinking like I wasn't as big back then, but I guess he was decent size.
A huge guy. John Tenta. Rest in peace. Great Canadian wrestler, often forgotten when we talk about the great Canadian professional wrestlers. People don't throw Earthquake in as much as they should, and he was like a great amateur wrestler. He was recruited. I think he wrestled at LSU. He was a Canadian guy that was so good at amateur wrestling that he got a scholarship to go wrestle in the States.
Wow.
Guy's legit. Like, the guy was a beast. He wasn't just big. The guy could move. He was an athlete. And he had a great pro wrestling career. A legend of Canadian wrestling. Gone far too soon. It was cool to watch a documentary about him. I learned some stuff about him. I knew a lot about him already because, it's fucking Earthquake, man. All right. So that was cool this week, and next week's Dark Side of the Ring is going to be, I just saw it, I think it's Buff Bagwell?
That makes sense, yeah.
Bagwell.
I think you're right.
And then the next week after that will be Terry Gordy. And then the week after that will be the Brutus Beefcake story, which basically is a thing where the parasailing accident where he lost like his face or whatever, and then eventually he was fine. He almost died, but then he didn't. I think that's going to be the Dark Side of the Ring, which is a story I've heard many times. I've heard Brutus tell that story so many times in interviews throughout the years that I'm kind of like, I don't know about that Dark Side of the Ring. I can't imagine he's got new details to tell us about the time he had a parasailing accident and his face got smashed and he almost died.
I feel there might be more to it than that. I feel, again, Brutus has been around for so long. I think there might be more tales that we don't know about yet.
Brother. I know that him and Brother Terry don't get along too well anymore. Hogan and Brother Brudai, they used to be real tight, and now they are not. And I think Hogan has a problem with Brutus's wife. So maybe she'll be on the Dark Side of the Ring, and we will find out a little bit more the details about what the rift is between Hogan and Brutus's wife and all of that. That's what I want to know about. I want to know why Hulk Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake are no longer friends.
I could see that. I definitely think Hogan would be involved because at one point, this is I think before we were born, but weren't they like doing like a brother team or something?
Yeah, I think so for a brief period.
So makes sense to have Hogan.
Hogan's never going to be on Dark Side of the Ring. He's never been on. He never will be. They'll never get an interview with Hogan. Huh?
If they'd have at least someone, Jimmy Hart at least. I think Jimmy Hart's been on.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. AEW Revolution. John, give me a score on 10. What did you think?
I will go, I think a 7's fair. I thought it was one of the craziest pay-per-views I've ever seen in my life. I thought, again, it was way too long. And they didn't give me enough at the end. So there was two things with that. And I think you know what I mean by they didn't give me enough at the end. They cut Sting's retirement speech at the end.
Yeah.
Or the last thing we get from Sting is I'm getting cues. And they just fade to black off that. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's a horrible ending. You lost a big point just for that. And I get it. You can watch it later. But in the moment, you ruined it right there a little bit. And I'm not saying I lost, my $50 investment there because I thought I got my $50 worth on this one. But in terms of my enjoyment, I lost a little bit there on that. I thought the first couple of matches, not the best. I thought the pay-per-view picked up as the show went on.
That's usually the case with AEW pay-per-views, though. And I thought, Bryan Danielson's match was pretty good. I mean, he did have to wrestle Eddie Kingston and lose to Eddie Kingston, but I thought the match was all right.
I thought it didn't make sense where Bryan pretty much dominated the match.
Yeah.
And then just out of nowhere, because finally Kingston finally got some offense going, and he finally hit that power bomb, and that's it. That was the end of it. I'm like, I felt like it should have been a bit more than that, because I didn't think Bryan took enough for that to put him down. I thought it was kind of abrupt, and I think the crowd was actually starting to get into it a bit, and I thought they actually ended it. It was long enough of a match, but I felt like that was the wrong time to hit the finish.
It was just under 20 minutes. I didn't love the finish, but it was what it was. I'm giving this pay-per-view an 8 because I thought it was pretty good, and I didn't feel the same way about the interview getting cut off there afterwards, the retirement speech, because I didn't actually see the match until the next day, and by that time, I know that AEW had posted the whole thing on their Twitter or on YouTube, so I watched the retirement speech online. I think I watched the retirement speech before I watched the match.
Okay. Well, it's a different feel for you then, but me in the moment.
Yeah, in the moment, I couldn't stay up that late on Sunday, so I just didn't. So it's a different level of enjoyment for me. Like, it's different. I get the outrage, but for me, I didn't have any moment where I was like, oh no, I didn't get that, because it was like, oh yeah, I saw that, no big deal. I know I got cut off. I heard about that. Because the match itself, I thought they gave you everything and more. I thought that match was pretty terrific. I thought we had some really good wrestling matches on this show. Some matches were kind of whatever, but I thought we had some matches that were really great, and I didn't have a problem with what Darby did. We can talk about it, but I thought the main event was great. I thought Joe, Hangman, and Swerve was very good. I thought Ospreay and Takeshita was good. I thought Tony Storm and Deonna Purrazzo was pretty good. I thought FTR against Moxley and Claudio was good. Yeah. We had some good matches on this.
I felt kind of rough for him. Like, I had Moxley and Claudio in my pick, but then I changed it because you said, oh, no, they're not going to win. FTR is going to win. It's in their home state.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, that didn't happen, but at least the Bucks lost, actually, so I didn't feel like that was the one thing that broke my perfect streak, so that's fine. But in terms of the match,
I don't even remember what I picked, man. I have no recollection of who I picked to win last week. The fact that you're keeping track of this is amazing to me. I don't remember. I think I picked Bryan Danielson to beat Eddie Kingston because fuck Eddie Kingston. I think I picked Christian to win. Christian beat Daniel Garcia. I don't know who I picked to win that scramble match. I don't remember.
It wasn't Wardlow.
It wasn't Wardlow.
Yeah.
Wardlow won. I don't think did I pick Roderick Strong to beat Orange Cassidy? I don't think so.
I did.
Oh, you did? Well, there you go. I don't remember. Maybe I picked everything wrong. I think I picked FTR to win that match. They didn't. I picked Tony Storm to win. She won that. I picked Ospreay to win. He won that. Yep. I thought Swerve might win, but I thought we did pick Samoa Joe in the end, right?
We both picked Joe. Yeah, we both picked Joe.
And you went with Sting and Darby, and I thought the Bucks would win, which they did not.
Didn't I go with the Bucks too? I thought I did, but maybe I'm wrong. I like to think I was wrong.
Maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe you did. I can't remember. This is the thing. I don't remember.
And I got 2 wrong, but whatever. Instead, I got 1 wrong, which is the one you told me to switch. So it makes it worse, but doesn't matter in the end.
My fault.
Doesn't matter.
Blaming
me. I thought the FTR match, it was all right, but it was also just kind of out of place in some moments, I thought, where it's like I didn't feel like it needed this strike exchange that they had, but they have to do the strike exchange. Like, they had too much of that, well, we have to do Japanese wrestling at this point. And I felt like it broke away from what a tag team match needed to be, and it just wasn't a tag match anymore at the end. And I thought the end was kind of flat too. Like, just choke them both out. I wasn't huge on that.
It's a weird way to finish it. And it's weird.
It was very weird.
It's weird for Moxley and Claudio, who aren't really a tag team, to beat clean one of the top tag teams in the world, who are just a tag team, It's
believable. I mean, they're strong enough to do it.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a fan of that.
No, I don't think that they should do that. I think the tag team should have won. Angelo saying we both went with the Bucks. I believe Angelo. I think he's probably.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had two wrong. That happens. I'm happy that they get most of the AEW right because that's hard. As we always said, the AEW predictions are harder than WWE predictions, without question.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What about match of the night? For me, I'd say it was probably the main event tag team match. It was pretty awesome.
I mean, it was pretty awesome, but I actually the match I enjoyed the most, and the match I thought was the best match because I thought that was a hardcore match,
Ospreay.
so a different kind of likes, right? Not actually Ospreay too. I thought Ospreay was great, and I think Ospreay, in my opinion, I think I said it before, like we did the whole year in review. I thought Ospreay was going to be the champion going into next year, and I definitely feel that way now because it's like he's like the next star right now. He's the next Kenny Omega, the way they push him. It's like crazy. But I actually thought the match I enjoyed the most, I thought was the best match, was Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy.
Ooh.
I really enjoyed that match. I honestly, like, that may have been one of the best Orange Cassidy matches, if not his best match I've ever seen. And Roderick Strong was fantastic in that match. I thought it was good storytelling. I thought it was good wrestling back and forth. And I thought the time was perfect. That was one of the best matches I've seen AEW's done. And I thought, yeah, like, I'm not saying it was the best match like ever they've done, but this year, definitely one of their best matches.
Wow, that's very high praise. I thought the match was really solid. Just under 13 minutes, Roderick Strong beating Orange Cassidy to become the new AEW International Champion, ending Cassidy's long reign there with the belt. And the Undisputed Era, or whatever they call themselves, they are saying that Wardlow is going to become the AEW World Champion and Roderick Strong was going to become AEW International Champion. Well, they got the International Champion right so far, and Wardlow won himself a match with Chris Jericho, Powerhouse Hobbs, Lance Archer, Hook, Brian Cage, Magnus, and Dante Martin to receive a AEW World Championship opportunity. So Wardlow, I guess, is the number one contender right now.
And he's got the shot against Joe next week on Dynamite.
Yeah.
It's official.
I don't think he'll win.
No, I think if they would have waited for the pay-per-view, then I could believe it, but they didn't. So, and the pay-per-view is April 21st. So, yeah, I don't see a title change right now. Unless he gets another title shot at the pay-per-view.
Maybe, but I think he might revisit something with Swerve. Possibly, yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe Wardlow. They continue something with Wardlow. Maybe Adam Cole is almost healed up and ready to go.
I don't know. Maybe it's interesting. That could be something, but I'd be
I think
surprised.
Cole and Joe at the pay-per-view there, Dynasty. They announced a new pay-per-view called Dynasty on April 21st. I could see Adam Cole and Samoa Joe headlining a pay-per-view more than Wardlow and Joe.
Sure. Well, I think Joe and Swerve is probably the best way to go, but again, it's early. We'll have to wait and see.
But if you go again with Swerve, you kind of have to give him the belt.
And, okay, sure.
It'd be a short run for Joe.
Swerve.
I'm just saying, it depends how long you want to run Joe with the belt. Do you want to give him the pay-per-view or not? If you want to have him defend the pay-per-view or defend the title of Dynasty and walk out of Dynasty still champion, you don't put him in there against Swerve, because if Swerve loses again, it'll hurt him. It'll hurt his stock.
Well, the way I'm looking at this, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking by Wembley, like, Ospreay's getting the title shot. Ospreay's going to face whoever the world champion is. So I'm figuring you got to put the title on Swerve before then. I think Swerve's going to be the champion against Ospreay.
It's going to be a good match. Everything Will Ospreay does is good. His match with Kyle Fletcher on Dynamite was good. AEW's gearing up. AEW Big Business. It's boss time in Boston coming up on Dynamite Wednesday night. They're going to bring Sasha Banks in. Everybody knows she's going to be there. It's going to be awesome. And this week, they brought the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada, officially in AEW. The Rainmaker. So excited about all the possibilities with Okada, all the possibilities with Will Ospreay. I want to stick on Revolution here for a second before we jump to Ospreay and Bryan Danielson and Okada and the money he's making. Samoa Joe retaining the championship, making Hangman Adam Page tap out to his Kohita clutch. And Joe, still AEW champion, Hangman Page has been suspended indefinitely by his former friends, the Young Bucks, because he attacked the referee, or two referees, really, during the match, attacked referees. So he's suspended for a while, so he's going to be taking some time off. We'll see when he comes back. So that's the deal with Hangman. Swerve's still around. Swerve cut a promo on Dynamite this week. Says he's not the champion, wondering if it's karma for all the bad things that he'd done in the past in AEW. He felt different on Sunday during the match. Felt like the fans were rooting for him. Really rooting for him. And he says one day he's going to take the AEW title from Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe came out, says Swerve needs to stop talking so reckless. And then the Undisputed Era comes out, and Adam Cole says Wardlow's got a title shot and he's going to win the title. And then Swerve says, Adam Cole, what is he, like a manager for you? He's a good manager, Adam Cole. Making fun of the thing where Adam Cole was supposed to be a manager in WWE, right? And then Cole says, Taven and Bennett versus Hangman and Joe next week. And then, versus Swerve and Joe next week. And then Tony Schiavone says, Tony Khan says, let's do the match right now. And then Swerve and Joe beat Taven and Bennett. And then Joe choked out Swerve after the match. So Swerve and Joe are still doing something. It may be them at Dynasty, in which case I feel like you got to give the belt to Swerve if you give him another pay-per-view title shot. The last time it was a three-way, this time one-on-one. Whose house? Swerve's house.
The only problem is, though, I mean, if you're doing another big match, what's the main event? Because this wasn't the main event, the three-way. Kind of gave you an idea that we weren't going to get a world champion because of that. I feel if the world title match isn't the main event, there won't be a title change again.
I think you could easily do Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay as the main event just based off the fact of how amazing it's going to be.
Well, there you go. So what do you do then with the world title?
Co-main, do Joe and Wardlow in some sort of rematch, or Joe and Adam Cole? I think Joe and Adam Cole could main event the pay-per-view.
I feel like that would come out of nowhere, though. Like, I feel you really have to build that up kind of bit, and I don't think they would do it in such a short amount of time here.
I mean, the pay-per-view is April 21st, John. It's March 8th.
Yeah. No, I don't see Adam Cole, like, who hasn't wrestled. He'd have to wrestle quite a bit to gain back up that, because they have rankings again. So he have to fight his way up again. So I just don't see him out of nowhere like this, climbing up the rankings. Like, it's a little too much if he did it.
How about Darby Allin and the big spot that he did? He flies off the top of the ladder. He goes through glass and hits chairs. It was devastating. And people were saying it was too far. It was dangerous. It was, bad. It was, but the fans, I don't think anybody got hurt. Darby was cut up from the glass, but I mean, that's his choice. Real glass, cry me a river. I got no problem with it. I thought it was totally fine. I talked about it with Fred last night. Fred didn't like it. Fred was saying, I don't like it, what Darby did and all that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. AEW warns the fans in the first few rows, like, stuff might happen. And, at indie shows, things happen. Garbage cans get thrown, chairs get thrown. You got to be careful. You got to watch the action. It's like at a baseball game, you got to make sure you're watching the action. Otherwise, a foul ball might hit you in the face. Just, pay attention. Be careful, and Yeah, if you see there's glass and a guy's about to crash through it, maybe just kind of shield your face if you're near it. It's just normal. But nobody seemed to get hurt in the crowd. It was all fine. Shards of glass flying everywhere, but the only person I saw that was cut was Darby Allin. People didn't like it. Some people did. I mean, I thought it was an unbelievable spot and crazy bump, and it's just another, ridiculous stunt that Darby Allin puts himself through, and he did it because it was Sting's retirement match, and he needed a big pop, and he got it. I thought it was amazing.
Well, as someone who watched Mick Foley nearly kill himself for our entertainment, I'm not going to say this wasn't fantastic to watch, because it was amazing to see what Darby was willing to do, again, for our entertainment. And because it's Sting's last match, he wants to make this as memorable as possible. He wants to add to that match by giving himself to that match. So I appreciate that as a wrestler, as a fan too, watching. I think what turned a lot of people off was the fact that he takes that bump, he turns over on his back, and you see the blood. It's just a little bit of blood, and then suddenly there's tiny little dots everywhere, and then the blood just starts pouring out. I think that looked way too gruesome for a lot of people, and a lot of people felt it more because they could imagine what someone could go through with that, having all those little pieces in your back, and then all that blood loss, and the fact that he's just laying there. It just you feel kind of vulnerable for him right there, where it's like, what's going to happen to him? And yeah, the doctors were there, and I guess they had this planned out, but still, That moment happened, and he doesn't really come back until the very end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wondering, for his safety, and a lot of people were wondering for his safety all the way until I think he said during the press conference that, he's alive still. So there was that hint of danger there that I think may have just turned a lot of people off. Some people enjoy that. Some people look at that and say that's too far.
This is what Darby does.
Right. But I think, especially someone like Fred, who I think likes wrestling, but likes more classic kind of wrestling. And when you go a little too far, like with glass, like with fire, like with weed whackers or anything like that, it's just a little step too far. You don't need to do that in order to entertain someone. Some people want that extra bit of violence, that chaos. And I think some people, it just turns them off because it's that's a step too far. They like it, but you made it too real.
It's a hell of a highlight, though.
I enjoy it. I think you enjoy it.
Unbelievable.
But I think we're also hardcore junkies in a sense, where we want to see what's the next crazy stunt you're going to pull off on us. What else can you do? I think we're kind of bloodthirsty maniacs in a sense.
Yeah.
So
I want to see everybody crash through all the things. I enjoyed Darby Allin crashing through the glass. I saw a clip last weekend of PCP Manny flying off the balcony, going through tables at IWS. Did you see that clip? That was crazy. You know that guy Manny from IWS, right? You know who I'm talking about, John. The guy, he goes off the balcony. He's wrestling, I think it was Joey Janela. He goes off the balcony and he crashes through tables. He hits the floor, and I've walked on that floor. It's just floor. I was like, good God Almighty. He's still doing that stuff. He's a wild man. But I like that stuff. You know what I mean? I enjoy it. I like to see people crash and get hurt, and it's like, hey, this is what they signed up for. It's like, God damn. I like when they crash, but the part of it that I like is that they get up and they keep going. Like, if they crash and then they're like dead, I don't like that. If they crash and it's like, I broke my neck, I can't go anymore. It's like I'm losing so much blood, I got to a hospital or whatever. If you do a stunt and you can't continue afterwards and you're supposed to, well, the stunt's gone terribly wrong, and I don't like that. But if you hit a stunt and it works, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that's some crazy shit you just added to the match, that's good for pro wrestling. So I like big stunts. As long as you survive and you can keep going, I think it adds to the match. Works for me. Big crazy stunts. It makes for a good highlight. Good highlight on the Twitter or YouTube or whatever, you know? Makes for a cool highlight on Darby Allin's highlight reel at the end of his career.
You're not wrong, but again, I understand Fred's point of view where he's not a fan of that kind of wrestling. And he doesn't need to be that kind of wrestling fan. Again, if you're not a fan of that kind of match, don't watch that kind of match. Yeah. WWE, I don't think you'll ever see anything like that, so I think he'll be fine watching WWE. I think he'd be fine watching most wrestling that you see on television. As long as there's no disclaimers, I think he'll be fine.
I think he prefers WWE to AEW. If you like, safer wrestling and no glass and no crazy, hardcore, flaming, exploding things, go to WWE.
Really true with WWE. Not completely true, but WWE has glass. They've used glass before, but again, safer in the sense that it probably will be real glass. And the fact that if it happens, whatever, there's going to be a medical team on site right away, and you'll probably not even see all that blood loss, more than likely, if there is blood loss whatsoever. And if there is some sort of fire, whatever, it'd be lighter fluid, it wouldn't be gas. WWE has different safety protocols, I think. And for them, it's more for the show instead of how far can we push ourselves.
Darby would not have been allowed to do that spot in WWE. No way.
Especially the way it was done, the height that he got on that.
Yeah.
Was quite extensive. He didn't need to go that high to go through that glass. But he wanted to because he knew it looked better because of it.
And the chairs underneath, too, is just devastating. It's brutal. It hurts.
Well,
hurts to watch.
You look at it. I think, was it Matt Jackson pulled Nick Jackson out of the way, or vice versa?
Yeah.
He didn't really need to do that, to be honest. Darby kind of overshot that anyways.
Yeah. Darby was interviewed talking about losing Sting as a partner, and he had the AEW Tag Team Championship. He's still technically one half of the Tag Team Champions, but Sting has now retired, and he's going out to Mount Everest to climb it next week, and he might die. And he says if it's his last match ever next week, well, he's going to Mount Everest later this month, but next week he's wrestling Jay White, and it might be his last match ever. And he can't replace Sting, and he wishes luck to whoever is going to win the tag team titles next. And then Jay White and the Guns come out, and Jay says, I don't care about Sting, and you're going to face me next week, and you don't have to do it. You could just hang out with us, the Bang Bang Scissor Gang. Just, forget the match. Jay White is a heel here in this promo.
Yeah. But
he's been slowly turning babyface with the Acclaimed and all of that. Now, in this instance, they forget everything about that. The Acclaimed don't come out. It's just, Jay White and his guys, and Jay White's a heel again. And it's this is the Jay White from a month ago. It's not the Jay White from a week ago. And I'm sure the Jay White from a month ago will return next week when he faces Darby Allin, and then the Jay White from a week ago or 2 weeks ago now will return with the Acclaimed in a couple. It's what the hell is going on with Jay White? What is his character?
I think it's all about who you face. He's facing a bigger baby face, so he's going to act more like a heel. I think that makes sense. To me, Darby came off as a bigger baby face. I don't know how you don't feel for a guy who says he's probably going to die when he climbs Mount Everest.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be his last match against Jay White. So that's also kind of sad. I would think Tony Khan would do everything in his power to make sure Darby is safe on his climb, but I don't know if he's in control in that one.
No, it's a dangerous thing to do. Hopefully he's all right, but death is always a possibility. Darby says, Jay White, you won titles and main event at the Tokyo Dome over there in Japan, but over here you're just playing with cardboard cutouts. You're kind of a disappointment in AEW, and I don't believe in your hype. And if you're really good, then next week then you'll come alone for our match. You won't have your guys helping you. And White kind of gets close to Darby, but Darby sticks the baseball bat in White's neck. And that was kind of the end of the promo. Darby has the baseball bat now. Sting's baseball bat. I like that that's carried over. to Darby.
Also, you say next. I don't believe it's this Wednesday. I think it's the following Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it? I thought it was next week, but maybe you're right.
I feel because it's big business this Wednesday, right? It's a big Mercedes Moné debut. And I feel like they've already announced pretty much all the matches. Samoa Joe, Wardlow, that's probably going to be the main event. I would think you'd have Mercedes wrestle on this show. I mean, it's nice to have an appearance, but when you think about Mercedes, it's more about her wrestling, not her talking. So she should have a match on this show, not just appear. But I don't know if they've announced or they're going to announce that whatsoever.
Darby Allin Jay White is on Wednesday. AEW Big
This
Business.
Wednesday?
Yep.
Okay. I thought it was the following one, but all right.
Nope. Willow Nightingale versus Riho, Darby Allin Jay White, Samoa Joe versus Wardlow, and the expected debut of Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks. All coming up Wednesday, March 13th in Boston. This coming Wednesday.
Oh, it's a big show. It's a good way for Darby to end off. Hopefully it's not his end, but if it is, it's a decent show to end, that's for sure.
Young Bucks cut a promo bragging about ending Sting's career, and they only lost because Sting and Darby were cheating. Sting brought his giant sons in there to beat them up, which is true. It was a 4-on-2 match for a good chunk of it.
Steamboat, Ric Flair.
Yeah. They really stacked the deck against the Young Bucks. Bucks then suspended Hangman from the Elite without pay for attacking the referees. They also fired Kenny Omega from the Elite. I don't really understand why, because he's not been around lately, so they fired him.
Well, they also cost him Kenny cost them the number one contender shot, right?
Right. So. Okay, yeah, okay. And then Eddie Kingston comes out, and he says, hey, you guys said if I talk crap about you, then I'd be fined. And then he starts throwing money at Matt and says, find me now, because I'm going to start talking crap about you. And then he attacks the Young Bucks, but they give him a low blow and super kick him. And then the Bucks are about to hit their finisher, the EVP trigger on Eddie Kingston, but they're stopped in their tracks by Kazuchika Okada's music, the Rainmaker. Okada shows up, and you're like, oh, he's here to save Eddie Kingston, but he's not. He grabs Eddie Kingston and hits him with the Rainmaker. And Okada now with the Young Bucks as a trio, which they have a great history together. They've been friends for many, many years. And now they are together in AEW. And we will be blessed with watching Kazuchika Okada wrestle on a weekly basis in All Elite Wrestling, which is amazing because he is one of the best in the world today. I saw people bitching and moaning about Okada getting $4.5 million a year from AEW. Tokyo Sports reporting AEW paying Okada $13.5 million over 3 years, which comes out to $4.5 million a year for 3 years. And people are like, hey, why are you giving it to Okada? Da, da, da. I mean, because he's Kazuchika Okada. It's kind of a steal. I don't know what the market is for pro wrestlers these days, but this guy is a top level guy, main event level guy. You got to entice him to leave Japan, where his wife is also very successful. I think his wife is famous in Japan. Like, Okada has it made in Japan. You got to make it worth his while to leave. And I think that they're going to make good use out of Kazuchika Okada. Now, will he be worth $13.5 million for the company? Only time will tell. I think he could be. I think he could be worth that and more. So I am fine with Okada making $4.5 million. If you think that's too much for Okada, what do you think is? I mean, he's a top level pro wrestler in the game today. He's wrestling a bunch. He's putting his body on the line. Travel, everything. Main event, top, former IWGP heavyweight champion. The guy was the top wrestler in New Japan Pro Wrestling. This is like getting the Roman Reigns of New Japan Pro Wrestling to come over. How much do you think AEW would pay to get Roman Reigns to come over? Do you think $4.5 million would be too much? I don't.
I
I think
don't
that'd be a
think it would
low
be enough.
offer for Roman.
Right.
I think a guy like Roman Reigns should be getting 10 to 15 million a year, easily.
Wait, you just wonder if Okada's getting this, how much is Edge getting? How much is Jericho getting? You got to start wondering in terms of like, what is the limit here? And like, maybe there is no limit in a sense. Maybe this will just keep going as much as they want to make sure WWE doesn't get these guys. I mean, it's kind of interesting in a sense that you have that opportunity to block WWE because you can offer them more. We haven't had that in so long. So it's interesting. I just felt the execution could have been a little bit better in the sense of when he turned on Eddie. Like, I think holding him for, like, winding him up for the Rainmaker, I think a hit in behind would have been better. I felt like the hold kind of took away a bit because he had to set it up. I think a hit in the behind, that would have been instant boo instead of the oh, and then just like ooh. Like the crowd kind of was awkward because they were waiting for the hit. I think we needed a hit right away, and then boom, hit him with another move, hit him with the Rainmaker. I think that would have been a better reaction, I think, instead of the way it went down.
We will see Okada wrestle tomorrow night in his AEW debut as a member of the roster here, teaming with the Bucks in a trios match. Tomorrow on Collision, Okada. And you know they're just going to give us Okada versus Edge some random night on Dynamite or Collision. And it'll be amazing.
I don't know about just some random episode. I think they'd try to hype that one up, but I could see it happen one day for sure. I mean, they're getting a lot more high-level athletes now. High-level wrestlers.
Ospreay, Okada, Sasha Banks coming up. Pretty good. And AEW is looking real exciting, and it's not like WWE's less exciting. It's just a real great time to be a wrestling fan. WWE's got The Rock and Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. AEW's got Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada. It's pretty good all around, John. Good wrestling these days. And it looks like it will be Danielson versus Will Ospreay at that pay-per-view AEW Dynasty. Apparently, a challenge has been made and accepted for Dynasty. Ospreay and Danielson is official. It's happening. Which will be crazy and will probably be the match of the year for 2024. Will Ospreay, Bryan Danielson, I can't imagine anybody being able to top that this year. So, congratulations, AEW. April 21st will be a magical, magical night when we see Bryan Danielson wrestle Will Ospreay. Live on pay-per-view.
Danielson likes taking those L's, I guess. Because, wow. Sounds like another pay-per-view L for him.
Yep. It's what he likes the most. Putting people over. Paying it forward. Taking care of the business. Leaving it in a better state than when he entered it. Because that's the type of man he is. A great man. A legendary man. The greatest wrestler of all time, Bryan Danielson. Going to go one-on-one with maybe the greatest in-ring wrestler right now, Will Ospreay. And yeah, Will Ospreay had a great match with Kyle Fletcher this week on Dynamite. Fantastic. Edge versus Christian. Speaking of Edge, Edge versus Christian in an I Quit match set for Dynamite March 20th in Toronto.
So there you go. I knew there was a match for the following week. There you go.
March 20th, Toronto. Edge versus Christian in their hometown. I Quit match. Damn. TNT title on the line.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be good.
I mean, it was good in Montreal when we saw it. Mm-hmm. So I expect this will be as good as well.
This is when they settle
I'm hoping.
Does Edge win?
Yeah, I'm hoping. I think Edge should win this one. We kind of need a finale to this. And, like, I feel like it just keeps getting dragged on with Christian cheating to win all the time. So I feel, Edge winning this finally puts an end to it. And sadly, actually, that might actually continue it because Edge wins, so Christian gets a rematch, and that could be for the pay-per-view.
Cody Rhodes just posted that picture.
It's very awkward. Like The Rock's face doesn't look right. And
well,
Roman's
no, because
face
he's got a hand slapping it in motion.
Doesn't The Rock already have a shirt like smacking Cody?
Wha-pam! What did the five fingers say to the face? Slap!
Look, Cody had a good slap back. Just that still photo doesn't look that good.
Mm-hmm.
And again, The Rock has a T-shirt already slapping Cody, and Cody made a shirt like kind of putting over that The Rock slapped him. So that was kind of weird.
He does?
So, but I mean, he should make a shirt. Yeah. So it's weird. I mean, they'll sell anything, really, when you think about it in terms of merch. I'm not surprised, but I mean, good for Cody to finally get that back on him. But again, they're even for the slaps, but The Rock still got him with the whole insults, saying that he's a mistake.
Oh my
so again,
God,
they're getting
really
the kill
shirt out of Cody.
Getting slapped, yes.
What?
That's a Cody shirt too.
Yeah, why is this a Cody shirt? I don't get it. That's so weird.
Again, like, how are these the baby faces here? Like, they're kind of lame.
Yeah, they are lame. They're proud of getting slapped. What? I gotta say, John, I keep seeing Roman Reigns wear this thing here, and I want one. I don't know why. I want to walk around with the Roman Reigns hoodie and be like, yeah, Roman Reigns.
It looks warm.
It looks nice. It's a nice hoodie.
It's getting warmer now, so you kind of don't need hoodies so much, but...
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get it, but I see him wearing it, and I'm like, yeah. I need to acknowledge my tribal chief.
No, I agree. 100%.
I'll probably just get more Yankees gear. Better. More Yankee stuff.
You know, we talk about how crazy the AEW pay-per-view was. I'm hoping your son didn't watch that, because there's some things that you probably shouldn't see. And again, like, that's maybe for us to watch, hardcore fans, but not younger fans.
Yeah, he wasn't really interested. He didn't see anything from the AEW show. I think maybe he saw the opening match, Christian's match, possibly. I don't think he even saw that. It's past his bedtime. It started at 8. It's past his bedtime. He didn't see any of it.
No, but you watched it after the fact,
yeah.
So you watched it after with him. So
nah, he wasn't interested. He's too busy playing Grand Theft Auto. He's not interested.
I get it. Stealing cars is more important.
Yeah. He is playing Grand Theft Auto. I am allowing him to do it, but he's only...
I don't doubt it.
He only plays when I'm in the room. I have to be there with him. He knows that. I have to be with him when he plays. We turn the subtitles off, and there's no like volume, so you can't hear people saying swear words. Like, we put the volume low so you can hear traffic sounds, but no like people talking. And he doesn't do any missions because that's violent and there's guns and stuff. And he may like steal a car, but he just gets into a car and then drives away. He's not really, I mean, I think he knows he's stealing it, but it's like, it's a video game. He gets it. So we just drive around, and, you could do a lot of stuff in GTA that doesn't involve violence or bad words or anything. I wish there was a version of GTA where you could kind of turn off the guns and turn off the violence and turn off the swears, and you could just drive around and like go on boats and bikes, and like he just enjoys exploring the world. He's playing GTA 5 on the Xbox 360 that I still have, It looks great. Got it hooked up in the living room. It's fantastic. But like, you could just kind of drive around in that game, do flips, crash, different vehicles. There's so many different vehicles, It's fun to just explore, so he's doing that. I knew he would like that. It's like a PG version of GTA that I'm having him play. It's good. He likes it.
Open world games. I get it.
Yeah, that's it. And it's a really fun world to navigate because it's so massive. It's a city, It's not like Zelda where he's walking around in like a fairy tale world. This is more kind of realistic. So it's cool. You can jump off buildings and not die, or sometimes you do die, but who cares? They take $40, and then a couple seconds later, you're outside the hospital, and you're good. Ready to go, you know? When he hits people accidentally with the car, he's like, oh, no, sorry. It's funny.
It's okay. The cops are after him. It's okay.
I drive on the sidewalk. I'm like, ha, 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 you know, flipping people. But, you know, I'm trying to think, when's the first time I played a Grand Theft Auto game? You know, how old was I when I played the original Grand Theft Auto on the computer where it was like, you know, from the top? Did you ever play that? It wasn't like first person. It wasn't like a 3D game. It was like from the top, and you were just like this little dot on the map, and you could steal cars. And it was GTA, but I played like the first Grand Theft Auto that was not anything like what it became. I think GTA 3 was the first one that was like, oh, this is what we know today as Grand Theft Auto, you know?
Right. Yeah, but I'm like you. I think I played one on the Game Boy, and it wasn't the same kind of style as it is today. But I think they called it Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. I see it's here, even GTA 2. GTA 2 looked like this, right? You know what I mean?
It's about right. Yeah, it's about right.
Like that kind of thing. That. It was like top down, you know? Like here, there's like a police shootout with the guns and the people and everything, but it looked like this, right? As opposed to GTA 5. That looks like this when you're playing, you know? It's a whole other... Like, this is the gameplay of GTA 5, you know? Crazy.
Stories are much more intense.
No
question.
Yeah. But we skip all this. We don't do any of that story stuff. No missions, no nothing. Just cruising around. And that's it. I think we're just cruising around this show, John. We are wrapping up. When's the next time people can see you in the ring?
Well, before we get to that, I saw something about like Kevin Kelly got fired from AEW. Like,
yeah.
You heard anything about that? Like,
yeah, he got into a beef with Ian Riccaboni and aired it publicly on Twitter. Something about a movie that Kevin Kelly watched, The Sound of Freedom, and then Riccaboni said something about it, and Kevin Kelly got mad, and they fired Kevin Kelly.
That's really sad because to me, like at a certain point in time, like Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness, that was the best like commentating duo they had going. And it's sad that it's gone.
He messed up on some people's names. The internet soured on him. I feel like AEW soured on him. They stopped using him. He was still under contract, but like Shivani was doing the commentary. Kevin Kelly was just kind of a passenger there. It didn't seem like it was working out. And then he had a public beef with Ian Riccaboni, which is weird. I don't know why that would happen, but hey.
That's too bad. I thought him and Nigel, like there was a lot of great moments there. I mean, no one's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever heard Michael Coles talk about double suplex and McAfee comes back, like actually that was like Spanish flies instead. He's like, oh yeah, you're right. Like that happened this week. So, and everyone lets Michael Cole get away with that on a weekly basis. So I think Kevin Kelly can screw up some names here or there.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, he's into the wrestling and he actually enjoys the wrestling and knows about wrestling, unlike some commentators, like Cole.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I thought Kevin Kelly did a good job, but it seemed like AEW did not. So your next match, John, can we get to it? When?
Well, that's a great question because Torch Chamber canceled their April show. So the next time Torch Chamber will be May 5th in Laval, same place, but May 5th will be the next show there. And then I guess it would be in Sudbury. I'll be back there in that casket match that we hyped up. Me against Magnum McLaren.
Yeah.
For the Project X Championship.
When's that?
So April 20th. April 20th.
Ooh.
In Sudbury.
Johnny winning a belt on 420. I love it. And for more with me, you could catch me tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time for the UFC 299 Watch Along. Freddie and AJ along for the ride. We'll be watching the pay-per-view with you. A tremendous pay-per-view headlined by Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Chito Vera. It's going to be a good one. 5 fights, all looking fantastic on this main card. The prelim card looks great. We've got some awesome fights for UFC 299. Join us tomorrow night for the UFC 299 watch along right here on the Ringside Report Network. Want to give a shout out to first to Angelo Contagonis, who is a longtime member of the show, and he did wind up being the Super Chat leader last night on Ringside Report MMA, but he became the Super Chat leader when the show was over, so I want to thank him and shout him out for being the Super Chat leader last night. And I want to give a shout out to Doug Hepburn, who's a Super Chat leader tonight, so thank you, Doug. Shout out to Doug and Angelo and Ryan Katz and Jimmy James, and who else did I see? I saw Leor in the chat. So many members in the chat tonight. Thank you guys. Appreciate your support. CSL Lorne. My goodness. Franco 316. What a turnout tonight. So thank you everybody for checking us out tonight here on the Ringside Report Network. And there's Angelo dropping the Super Chat, and now he's a Super Chat leader of the night. I love it. There you go. So thank you guys for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Thank you for watching, all the members and all the non-members. If you want to support the channel, you can just subscribe. You know, you don't have to drop any money. You can subscribe to the channel. We appreciate your support. Subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and if you want to be very cool, like Angelo and Jimmy and Lorne and Ray Cruz and Franco 316 and Doug Hepburn and Leor and Ryan Katz. If you want to be cool like those guys, you go to join.ringsidereport.net, join.ringsidereport.net, and you sign up and you support the Ringside Report Network. And you keep the lights on here. We actually have a new camera that we're setting up tomorrow. So we're getting new equipment. We're always trying to make the thing look better and more beautiful for you. So we're always making improvements here, and it's thanks to your support that we are able to do that. So thank you for supporting the channel. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, when the pay-per-view starts. That's when we start for the UFC 299 watch-along right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again